Hey there everybody, just doing a review for the 70 Hiker 400 portable power station, and just taking a look at the box that the unit comes in right over here. A pretty simple box, but it's a nice looking box as well. Nothing on this side, nothing on this side, and over the back it does give you the specifications right over here. And so a pretty simple power station, a mini one. I was surprised with this power station with what it features and the capabilities of it. It does have app compatibility, and that's something that I was not expecting, because when you think about app compatibility with a power station, you usually think of larger brands like EcoFlow and Bluetti, and this coming from a smaller brand, it was really surprising to know that this power station is compatible with an app, and I'm going to be showing that in this review as well. And so what's included in the box is the power station, of course. You also get a car charging cable, an AC charging brick, and the manual. And so the power station itself, it's pretty small. Yeah, it's tiny. I mean, it does have a 370 watt hour capacity. It does have a 400 watt max output through the AC outlets, and so it does have a 8.7 by 7 by 7.8 inch form factor, and it weighs about 8.6 pounds. And so at the front is where you're going to be spending most of your time. It does have the screen right at the front, and to turn on the power station, you just got to hold down the power button, I believe. It's got to wait a second, and yeah, there we go, it turns on. And this is basically the unit turning on right over here. And there we go. Yeah, the screen on the power station is pretty detailed. It does show the input wattage over to the left, output wattage over to the right, battery percentage in the middle, and it also has a estimated runtime in the middle right there. And also, yeah, like I said before, it does have Bluetooth app compatibility right over here, and it shows when the fan is on. And so the fan is actually on right now. I think when you turn on the power station, the fan just turns on. You can barely hear it right now. Oh, and it just turns off right there because it disappeared from the screen. I think the screen on time could be longer. I don't know if you can change that in the app, but I'm going to check if you can. The cigarette lighter port and the DC 5521 port have an output of 10 amps at 13.6 volts. The Type A quick charge port is able to output 18 watts. The two standard Type A ports are able to output 12 watts. And the USB-C power delivery port is able to output and input 100 watts. So that's pretty cool. This has a bi-directional USB-C port. I was not expecting that. Once again, this is from a smaller brand, and yet this screen is really helpful. It's bright, it's easy to read. It has tons of helpful information, especially that estimated runtime. And it has a bi-directional 100 watt power delivery port. For a mini power station like this, you would expect a 60 watt USB-C port, but they went the extra mile, in my opinion, by adding a 100 watt port. This is the DC input port that you would use with the included AC charging brick and the included car charging cable right over here. The Anderson port is going to be used for solar recharging. 70 did send over two 110 watt solar panels, and so what you can do with this power station is that the power station does have a max 120 watt solar recharging speed, but what you can do with their solar panels is that you can actually put them in series to make sure that you get as much solar input as you can into the power station through the Anderson input port. But using just one 110 watt solar panel is going to be enough, in my opinion, in case you really don't care about that 120 watt max solar recharge speed. 110 watts is pretty good. I did do solar recharging testing with this power station using the 70 solar panel, and I'm going to be showing that in this review as well. And so this function button right over here is going to be used to connect the power station to the Bluetooth app, and I'm going to be showing the Bluetooth app also in this review. And so the handle is right at the top, pretty easy to hold. I like these type of fixed handles rather than foldable handles, because these ones don't move around. It's just really sturdy to hold. And so over to the right side, it does have the two AC outlets. So the AC output is going to be 400 watts continuous output. It does have a 800 watt surge. If you want to turn on the AC outlets, you just got to press this button right over here. The green light turns on. And I think when you turn on the AC outlets, I'm pretty sure the fan actually stays on, which is a pretty good idea considering that this is such a small power station. And, I forgot to mention, when you want to turn on the DC ports, you just got to press the DC power button right over here. And over on this side, there is nothing, just a vent for the internal fan. And so over the back, it does have the LED flashlight. And so I did do some testing with the app for the power station, and it's pretty cool. You can actually change the temperature and the brightness of the flashlight. at the back of this power station. And yeah, I'm going to be showing that as well. So it's just pretty cool to see. You know, you can also change the brightness. Yeah, so it turns even brighter. Yeah, it's a really bright flashlight. I think it's a 300 lumen flashlight. So pretty bright. And so with that said, I'm just going to go ahead and do the AC and DC capacity test real quick. I'm going to just get this back to 100%, run the AC capacity test using that crock pot right over here that I usually use with my watt meter. And then I'm going to be doing a DC capacity test with my Maker Hawk load tester. And so yeah, I'll be right back with the capacity efficiency. Alright you guys, so I did run down the capacity for the 70 mAh power station all the way down to 0%. And so what I ended up with, you know, I used this crock pot right over here to run it down to 0% with. And so what I ended up with was a 320 watt hour capacity, and that gave me about a 84% efficiency rating on the AC capacity side. And so yeah, this is pretty good. You know, small power stations like these generally have pretty good capacity efficiencies. And you know, that's the same case right over here. 84% is good. It's not excellent, I would say. You know, something that would be excellent would be like, you know, in the 90% efficiency range, in my opinion. Alright guys, so I did run down the capacity for the 70 mAh power station using this load tester right over here, and I used the cigarette lighter port to run down the capacity all the way down to 0%. And so for the DC capacity, I was able to get 337 watt hours, and that gave me about a 89% efficiency. And so, you know, generally the DC capacity efficiency for power stations is almost always better. And you know, that's no different in this case. 89% is excellent. It's really close to that 90% range. And right over here, as you can see, I ran the DC capacity test for about 2 hours and 46 minutes. 337 watt hours of usable capacity. And yeah, there we go. That is the DC capacity test for the 70 mAh mini power station. Alright you guys, so just testing out the recharging for the Hiker 400 power station. I'm just going to be testing out the included charging brick first to see how fast I can recharge it with using the charging brick. And so I think it should be about 80 watts or 90 watts for the AC charging brick speed. And then also let me test out what the speed would be if I use a 100 watt power delivery wall charger as well. I do have my Oraimo 120 watt charger, so this should be pretty optimal in this case. So yeah, I'm getting about 84 watts from the AC charging brick alone. And so if I add on the wall charger, I think I should upgrade to about 160 watts or maybe 180 watts. And so for a 378 watt hour capacity, you're going to want a pretty fast recharge speed. And so yeah, there we go, 170 watts right there. As long as you use the AC charging brick and a 100 watt power delivery port, you're going to be able to recharge this power station within about like 3 hours, maybe 2.5 hours, because you know, 170 watts for a 378 watt hour capacity is very fast. As you can see, it also shows the estimated recharge time, which is about 2.1 hours at this point, at least, because it's because the power station is at 47%. But yeah, this is the most optimal way to recharge the unit. And so I'm going to head on outside to test out the solar recharging for the Hiker 400 power station using 70 mAh's 110 watt solar panel as well. Alright you guys, so just outside testing out the solar recharging for the Hiker 400 power station. And right over here I do have a 70 mAh's own 110 watt solar panel as well. Getting some really good sun exposure. I do have it laying flat on the ground for you know, the optimal sun exposure at this time. And I'm getting about a 93 watt solar recharging speed, which is really good through the Anderson input port right over here. And I could put 2 of their panels in series, because I do have another 110 watt solar panel, but I don't see much of the point, because the max solar recharging speed of this Hiker 400 power station I think is 120 watts, and you know, I'm really close to that point, and you know, just adding on that extra solar panel isn't exactly worth it. You could, to get the best solar recharging speed, but at this time I don't see really much of a use for it. But yeah, I mean, 93 watts is pretty close to the max 120 watt solar recharge rate, and this is always an option in case you want to use a solar panel to recharge the power station with. All right, you guys. So just back inside, I do have the power station recharging once again, and I'm just going to show you the app compatibility with the 70 Hiker 400 power station because the app is pretty cool. In my opinion, it's like not right on par with EcoFlow or Bluetti, but it's nice. This is a really nice app in my opinion. And so as you can see, you just got to make sure that you have Bluetooth on your phone. It does show the battery percentage right here on the screen. Battery temperature, I think that's Celsius. That can't be Fahrenheit. Okay, so estimated full recharge time is 2 hours and 7 minutes. You can choose to turn off the power station from here remotely. SOS mode, I think that just flashes the light at the back. And also, as I mentioned before, at the beginning of this review, yeah, so you can actually change the temperature of the light at the back. I know I'm like harping on this light over the back, but it's pretty cool. I've never seen this on a power station. So I think you just gotta turn it on just like that. Yeah. And then once you have it on, you can press it and you can actually change the brightness like that. Yeah, so you just gotta drag, medium, and then to large. I don't know why they have it set to small, medium, large. Why not like low, medium, and high? But yeah, it's whatever, I suppose. And also you can change the color temperature of the light. So I have it set to cold right now. You can set it to moderate, and you can set it to warm. Yeah, so this is something that I've not seen with the power station, the ability to change the color temperature. So that's pretty cool to see. I mean, maybe it's not too important for a lot of people, but it's nice. That's pretty cool to see. It shows you the output wattage right over here, real time, the AC output right over here, the DC output right over here, and it also shows you the total output on top right over there. You can remotely turn on and turn off the AC output and the DC outputs. Eco mode, not too sure what eco mode is, to be honest. It can say power when turned on. It is recommended to turn off when using low power appliances for a long time. So I think it actually like turns off the power station automatically after a certain amount of time. But yeah, we don't need that right now, so I'm just going to keep it off for now. And right over here is the input. So yeah, I'm recharging via the AC charging brick and a power delivery wall charger, and it shows the recharge speed real time on the app as well right here. Okay, it also shows solar power changing trends. That's cool. I think one other thing that it did that was pretty cool. Let me go over here. Screen luminescence. So yeah, there we go. Here it is. Yeah, so you can actually change the screen off time that I was mentioning before at the beginning of this review. So I hate how the screen turns off after 30 seconds. So you can actually set it to just keep running. So the screen just keeps on all the time, which is really nice because I don't like it when the screen turns off. But at the same time, if you keep the screen on and you also keep the brightness of the screen pretty high, it is going to use a bit of power. So maybe not the best idea, but this is just me. I like having the high brightness on the screen. I like having the screen on at all times because it's just nice to look at. You know what's happening with the power station at all times as well. Restore factory settings for the power station right over here if you want to. And yeah, that's really about it. I'm not too sure if you can change the temperature setting from Celsius to Fahrenheit or Fahrenheit to Celsius, but I couldn't find it anywhere at this time. And so let me go ahead and just test out the AC outlets over at the side because I did do some AC outlet testing the other day, and I was actually pretty surprised to know that you can actually power appliances past the 400 watts. And let me go ahead and grab my heater to show you guys that. Alright guys, so just back with my Lasco heater connected to one of the AC outlets over at the side of the power station. I'm just going to set it to its low setting. And also in this case, I'm going to be testing out if this power station features pass-through charging as well. If I'm able to recharge the unit and use the AC outlets at the same time. And so the usual output of this Lasco heater on its low setting is about 700 watts. So that's way above the 400 watt continuous output capabilities of this Hiker 400 power station. So I mean, it should automatically shut off, but in my testing like 2 days ago, it didn't. It just kept working. It just kept powering the heater without any problems. If I set the Lasco heater to its high setting though, which has an output of about like 1300 watts, the power station does automatically shut down. So I'm not gonna bother with its high setting. But at the low setting, it's actually pretty cool. It's actually able to power the heater even though it's well above the wattage range it's able to power appliances at. And also, just to show you guys the app, it does show the wattage output in real time right over here. And also the recharging speed for the power station hasn't slowed down. We're still at 170 watts going into the unit and 440 watts going out of the power station. And so let me go ahead and set a timer real quick to see if the power station is actually able to continuously provide power to the heater. I'm just going to set a stopwatch. I'm going to come back in about 5 minutes to see if the unit is still on or if it automatically shuts off. I will be right back. Alright, you guys, so back after about 5 minutes and 55 seconds, and the heater is still running and the power station is still on. Of course, the power station is still on. How else would the heater be running? But yeah, anyways, I did lose some capacity, of course, because more power is going out, less power is going in. But the point is that this power station is actually able to regulate the power output. And so what's happening in this case is the voltage is dropping and the amperage is increasing, making the heater think that it's receiving enough power to run. And so the heater may not be running at its optimal level. I mean, I know it's at low right now, but even at its low setting, the heater should be outputting a bit more heat, but it's not. But hey, I mean, it's still going. This is pretty cool to see. And so yeah, that is the AC output testing. The fan for the 70Mi power station is it's running. It's running pretty hard right now, actually, trying to keep the unit cool, considering that I'm running past its continuous 400 watt output. But yeah, that is the AC outlet testing, and that is the AC passive charging testing as well. And also, let me show what happens when you set the heater to its high setting, like that. So it's going to automatically shut off, as it should, because there's no way that the heater, yeah, there we go, the AC output automatically turned off. And I think we should be getting error message. Yep, there we go. That is the error message right there. Alright, you guys, so just back with the Hiker 400 power station, and in this case I'm testing out the charging ports. I have my Lenovo laptop right over here charging from the 100 watt USB-C power delivery port, and it's charging at about 45 watts, so that's really good. And I have my Galaxy Note 9 charging from the Type A quick charge port, and yeah, it's fast charging. So the charging ports on this power station are really good for the capacity and, you know, the general output of the unit, because for these type of mini power stations it's usually a 30 watt or 60 watt USB-C power delivery port. But you know what, as I mentioned before, 100 watts of power delivery from a Type C port is just really good to see at this small on this small of a power station, because you're going to be able to fast charge most USB-C chargeable laptops. Alright, you guys, that is my review for the 70Mi Hiker 400 power station. Just my final thoughts for the unit. The one thing that it's missing is that it doesn't use lithium iron phosphate batteries. Instead, it just uses regular lithium ion batteries. And that's really the only pretty big flaw that it has. I should have mentioned that at the beginning of this review. But yeah, you get regular lithium ion batteries, and so that you're getting about 1,000 charge cycles to 80% efficiency on the batteries. You know, it isn't bad, it isn't terrible, but at this point in the game, you know, a power station using lithium iron phosphate is mostly the standard, or at least it's becoming the standard as we move forward. But other than that, the specifications on this unit, they're pretty solid. You know, a 400 watt output coming from the AC outlets over to the side. And even if you go over the 400 watt output, the power station is still able to supply power to the appliance. But you know, just be warned, it's not always the best idea to do that, because they may damage the appliance that you're powering. But in my case, I was able to power my Lasco heater on its low setting. And so yeah, I will have a link to the product page for this power station down in the description below. I will also have a link to the review article over at chargerharbor.com in case you want to read a review for the unit. And I will see you all on the next video. All right, goodbye.